Hello, everybody. Welcome to Modern Meta Matchups. Today we have a new exciting matchup, and I will be playing Gruul Midrange. It's kind of a Ponza style deck. It'll be pretty interesting to see. What do you have for us today, JC?
Today I'm going to be playing a classic, Grixis Death Shadow. So I'm going to be trying to get a Death Shadow into play with my life total pretty low and make it very large and kill you with it.
All right, and one last thing before we get into that gameplay. If you do like our content, please be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe. It means a lot to us here on the Mana Vault, and we hope you really enjoy this gameplay, and we'll go ahead and get into that now.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the gameplay. I won the die roll off camera, so I'll be on the play in this game. Go ahead and see what this opening 7 looks like. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep this hand.
I think I can keep this. So for game one, my opener is not too shabby. I've got a Lightning Bolt, a Street Wraith, a Thoughtseize, a Temur Battle Rage, a Stubborn Denial, and a Polluted Delta and Watergrave. So basically my plan is to start with an early Thoughtseize and cycle that Street Wraith, and then just try and play a bit of a control role until I can find a threat, and hopefully I can finish the game out with that Temur Battle Rage.
So I'll be go ahead and take the London 6. I still get to look at my 7 cards here. I will keep this hand, and I'm going to be putting this card on the bottom. Alright, so going into game 1, I did have to mulligan. That initial hand had really 1 land, and I wasn't going to be able to do anything. With this one, I do have 2 lands, though. I have a snow-covered forest. I also have a Stomping Grounds to go along with that. To kind of help my land situation even more, I have a Utopia Sprawl, which will allow me to kind of ramp and get some more mana going. I'm also looking at a Scavenging Ooze, kind of my only real threat early on in this game. I'm going to need a little bit more mana to reach my other one, which is Chandra Torture Defiance. And lastly, I have a Lightning Bolt. Not really going to do too much in this matchup, but at the end of the game, it might be able to help me close it out. Because Death Shadow, you generally go to a pretty low life total, so maybe Lightning Bolt will help me. As far as what I put to the bottom, I had 2 copies of Chandra in my opening hand. Go ahead and toss one of those to the bottom. Don't really need 2 of that in this game, so we'll see what happens. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and lead things off with Forest, and I will play the Utopia Sprawl, and I am going to go ahead and name Red.
Okay.
And after that, I will pass the turn.
Okay.
Alright, so turn 1 here, I have Utopia Sprawl, very important. It lets me get off to a quick start, and because I am against a Grixis Death Shadow deck here, I know he has removal. So this is the type of accelerant that I want over the Arbor Elf in case he has something to do with that Arbor Elf. I'm assuring myself the ability to have a 3-mana play next turn.
I'll draw for my turn. I will cycle this Street Wraith into life. Drawing a card. I will play Polluted Delta, and I'll sacrifice it to find a Blood Crypt.
Untapped?
Untapped.
Okay.
And then I will cast Thoughtseize, targeting you.
Alright, so we get to see Scavenging Ooze, Chandra Torture Defiance, Lightning Bolt, and a land.
Well, I'm going to make you discard the Scavenging Ooze.
Sure thing.
I will lose 2 life. And I will pass the turn. So I've taken my life total down quite a bit on this first turn, and I'm casting Thoughtseize, and I see Chandra, a Lightning Bolt, a Scavenging Ooze, and some lands. So the most relevant threat to me is that Scavenging Ooze, because it can grow very large to compete in size with my big creatures, but also it takes stuff out of my graveyard, and I play things like Snapcaster Mage and Gurmag Angler that'll use the cards in my graveyard to my advantage, so I'm not really looking to fight that thing this early on in the game, so I'm just going to get that one out of here.
Okay. Tap. Draw. I will play a Stomping Ground.
Mm-hmm.
I will pay the 2 life to have it come in untapped. And I will play my top deck of Pillage. I am going to destroy your land.
That's unfortunate.
And after that, I will pass the turn. So I just had my only real threat taken out of my hand with that Scavenging Ooze. But I draw my card, I see a Pillage here. And I'm like, oh, well, my opponent's got 1 land. He's playing Death Shadow. They have a low land count in their deck anyway. So I decide I'm just going to destroy that land right now. Try to get him out of either some colors or maybe that's his only land. I'm not really sure yet.
I will draw. I will play a Watery Grave, untapped.
Okay.
I will once again cast Thoughtseize, targeting you.
Lightning Bolt and Chandra.
I'm going to take away the Chandra.
We go to 9.
Yep. Then I will play Mishra's Bauble.
Got it.
And I will look at the top card of your library.
Go for it.
I will pass the turn, and on your upkeep, I will draw a card.
You got it. I'll play Land for turn and Swept Heath. Card that you already knew about.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I'll just pass the turn.
Tap. Card. I will pay a black and exile these 6 cards from my graveyard to cast Gurmag Angler.
Yep.
Delve.
You got it.
And then I will pass to you. So I really need to start threatening Austin, and my top deck for the turn is Gurmag Angler. This is a big 5/5 for, in my case, 1 mana, because I just get to exile a bunch of cards from my graveyard to pay for it. So that's going to put him under some pressure and give me some defense against whatever he might have coming up. This is perfect.
At the end of your turn, I will sacrifice my Windswept Heath. I'll grab a Stomping Grounds tapped.
Okay.
So then I'll go ahead and draw for turn. Not gonna lie, that's a pretty good top deck. 4 mana, Bloodbraid Elf.
That's pretty good.
And on cast, so it's not on the battlefield yet, but on cast we get to Cascade. And we will hit a Klothys, God of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go ahead and cast the Klothys.
I have no responses.
Klothys comes into play, and then Bloodbraid Elf will come in.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I will pass the turn. So I just top decked another great one in this game. It's a Bloodbraid Elf. So I'm going to go ahead and cast it, or I cast it, and what do I see on the very next card? I see Klothys, which is great in this matchup.
Okay. Currently have 5 devotion.
I have 5 devotion right now. 2 more, and I'll be at the 7 required to have Klothys be more than just an enchantment.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see.
Glad I destroyed your land.
It's in your graveyard.
Currently, we have a Windswept Heath, Chandra, Pillage, and Scavenging.
Okay. Okay. I will play Cling to Dust.
Target.
I will exile the Chandra from your graveyard.
Good thing. So you get to draw a card, I believe?
I get to draw a card because it was a non-creature card. I see. I will pay 2 life to cycle this Street Wraith.
You got it. Still looking for lands.
I will play a Bloodstained Mire, and I will pass the turn to you.
Alright. That's on my pre-combat main, so I do get to draw my card so I can make a better determination of what I want to do with Klothys. I am going to go ahead and exile the Cling to Dust from your graveyard.
Okay.
Because it's a non-land card, I will gain 2 life and deal 2 damage to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and tap my Stomping Ground and play an Arbor Elf.
Okay.
We're still at 6 devotion. Not quite enough to have Clothis be a creature here. So with that, I'll just go ahead and pass the turn to you.
The end of your turn.
Yeah, Clothis is pretty good here. I don't know if it's something that you can come back from.
I don't think so.
Pretty hard to remove, too, since it's indestructible.
I will just untap.
Yep.
I will draw for the turn. Okay. I will sacrifice my Bloodstained Mire to go get a basic swamp.
Okay, go to 4.
Alright, so with my swamp, I will cast Fatal Push, targeting Bloodbraid Elf. And because of Revolt, it will actually kill the Bloodbraid Elf.
Bloodbraid Elf will die.
And then I will attack you for 5.
No blocks here.
Okay, you take 5.
I go down to 14.
And I will pass the turn.
Okay. Draw. Beginning of my pre-combat main phase here. I'll go ahead and exile the Fatal Push from your graveyard.
Okay.
I gain 2 life, you take 2.
Go to 2.
And like we saw all along from all those thought seizes, I'll just bolt you in the face.
I will respond with a Stubborn Denial, countering target non-creature spell, because I have a creature with power 4 or greater.
I can't do anything about that.
So that lightning bolt is going to kill me, but fortunately I have a Stubborn Denial to counter it. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but it gives me an extra turn, and maybe I can draw another Cling to Dust to gain some life or something to help keep me in this game just a little bit longer. And there's a slight chance, so I got to play to my outs.
And there's not really any real reason to attack with Arbor Elf here. It puts you to 1. Clothis will already finish the job, so I guess I'll just go ahead and pass the turn after that.
Okay. Draw. Well.
Not sure how blue and black deals with an indestructible enchantment.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't deal with an indestructible enchantment. So there is nothing I have here that will get me out of this situation. So unfortunately, as long as Austin targets a non-land card in a graveyard on his next pre-combat main phase, I am very dead. So I'm just going to pass the turn.
All right. Unless he has Cling to Dust as his last card, we'll go ahead and we'll choose from our graveyard. It's a little bit harder to interact with. I'll just choose that Lightning Bolt. It was supposed to kill him last turn. Maybe it'll kill him this turn.
It does unfortunately kill me this turn.
All right. So for sideboarding, I'm looking at taking out a couple of things that don't really do enough in this matchup, I don't think. The Bone Crushers don't really have the ability to deal with his creatures at all. They're too big for them. They could go face, but I already have the Lightning Bolts for that, so I'm not really worried. The Chandra, it's decent. It can kind of get in some points of damage, but other than that, dealing 4 damage to a creature, again, doesn't really deal with any of his threats that he's presenting in this matchup. Veil of Summer is obviously going to be very good. Blue and black hexproof, considering the deck's mainly blue and black. And it also can maybe avoid a Thoughtseize or something early on. And then Obstinate Baloth, it's kind of a large body, same body as Bone Crusher basically in this matchup. But if it's the only card in my hand and he plays Thoughtseize, I get a free 4/4 on the battlefield. Might not be super relevant in this matchup, but it also gains me 4 life, which could come in handy. And I can combine it with just something like an Arbor Elf to kill one of the Gurmag Anglers in this game.
So for me, I'm taking out 2 Cling to Dust and a Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt deals with some of the early dorks, but it doesn't hit the big mid-range creatures. And when I attack Austin with a large creature and battle rage it or something like that, I'm attacking for a lot, so Bolt is less likely to do a lot. It's also a 1-of in the deck. And the Cling to Dusts might draw me a card or gain me a little bit of life, but I don't think they're as relevant in this matchup. What I'm bringing in, though, is a pair of Ether Gusts, which hit all of Austin's spells. It's pretty great. And I'm bringing in one more Eliminate. The flexibility of being able to hit either an early creature or something like, I don't know, Renin 6, just makes it a little bit better than something like a Bolt. All right. Game 2. I'm on the play.
Sounds good.
Gotta be on the play. I think I'll keep this hand. So, it's time for game 2. This time I'm on the play, and I've got 2 fetch lands in Polluted Delta in Scalding Tarn. I've got a Thought Scour, I've got an Inquisition of Kozilek, I've got an Eliminate, and I have 2 Gurmag Anglers. So this time I have threats to support my interaction, and hopefully this game goes a little bit better.
I think I'll give it a try as well.
Okay.
All right, so going into game 2, I'm looking at my opening hand here, and I see 3 lands. I have a Snow-Covered Forest, along with a Windswept Heath and a Wooded Foothills. To go along with that, I also have a Utopia Sprawl. Generally, I do want to have that 1 mana accelerant, whether it's the Utopia Sprawl or the Arbor Elf. To go along with those, I have a Pillage, so maybe I'll be able to get a turn 2 land destruction in, which is also always a very good thing to do. To accommodate that, I have a Renin 6, which will help me kind of get my lands back, maybe, since I do have those fetch lands in my opening hand here. And they're going to help me get to that 5 mana, which I need to get to the Glorybringer. So hopefully I'll be able to get that Glorybringer out, maybe on turn 4. We'll see what happens, though.
All right, so to start, I'm going to play a Polluted Delta, and I'm going to sacrifice it for an untapped Watery Grave.
Sounds...
Okay, so I'm going to tap this Watery Grave for a black and Inquisition of Kozilek you.
All right, so I'll show you the things you can't take.
Okay.
A land,
Uh-huh.
a land,
I see.
a land. Oh.
I guess...
Glorybringer is also not eligible.
Okay.
But we do have a Renin 6, a Utopia Sprawl, and a Pillage.
I see. Well...
Go ahead and just move it out of your way.
Let's get rid of that Utopia Sprawl, then.
Taking out the Utopia Sprawl.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
After that, I will pass the turn to you. So, I start off with this Inquisition of Kozilek, and the thing is that Austin's deck is built around trying to accelerate really quickly, and so I gotta take that Utopia Sprawl because that thing is gonna help him get a bit of a mana advantage for the rest of the game, so I don't want to deal with that. I'm just gonna get rid of it.
See if we can get the Thoughtseize bug. Cannot. I'll just play a Windswept Heath. Pass the turn.
Okay. I'll untap and draw. I will play a Scalding Tarn. And I will pass the turn.
End of your turn, I'll go ahead and sacrifice my Windswept Heath, grab a tapped Stomping Grounds.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and untap and draw. And we'll go ahead and play into this Stubborn Denial, maybe? Do we want to play into a Stubborn Denial? That's the question. Death Shadow not doing anything on turn 2 is a little bit suspicious. And he knows that I have this Renin 6. I think we're going to play around it and just play this card that we top decked, which is the Arbor Elf.
Okay.
And even if that dies here, I think that's okay for us. And we'll also play a Wooded Foothills. After that, we'll just pass the turn.
Okay. On your end step, I'm going to sacrifice my Scalding Tarn to get untapped Bloodstain or Blood Crypt.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to play Thought Scour targeting myself.
Sure thing.
So I will mill a Fatal Push. and Thoughtseize, and I will draw a card.
I'm okay with those getting moved.
Yeah. I will then untap and draw for turn. I will play a Bloodstained Mire, and I will immediately sacrifice it to go get a Steam Vents.
Sure thing.
All right, so I will tap this Blood Crypt for a black to play this Gurmag Angler, and I will exile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will leave Fatal Push in my graveyard.
Okay.
Then I will pass the turn to you.
End of your turn, I'll go ahead and sacrifice my Wooded Foothills to grab yet another tapped Stomping Grounds.
Okay.
Alright, so untap, draw. That's interesting. I'll play my Forest as land for turn. My top deck might have just changed everything, though. I'm not sure.
I don't like that.
Let's see. I'm going to pay 3 mana. We'll go ahead and attempt to pillage your Watery Grave.
I suppose I will float a black mana in response.
Sure.
And then it dies.
After that, I will just attempt to go to my end, or attempt to move phases, go into combat, basically.
When you attempt to move phases, I'll pay 1 and 2 life for a Dismember targeting your Arbor Elf.
In response, I'm going to untap my Forest.
Okay.
And I will play Veil of Summer.
Yep, that's pretty good.
So I will draw a card because you have cast a black spell. And because of Veil of Summer, my Arbor Elf will gain Hexproof from black. So Dismember will not do anything.
It will not do a darn thing.
And with that, I will successfully go to combat. I have nothing to do. And then I'll just go to my end step.
Okay. Untap and draw a card.
The Veil of Summer was the top deck that I thought was interesting.
Well, I suppose I shall Thoughtseize you.
So I recommend you take that. But in case you don't want to, I have Seasoned Pyromancer, Renin 6, and Glorybringer.
6 and Glorybringer.
I have what we call gas.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
I have a feeling we're not going after the Bailoff this turn.
No. I think you can keep that one.
Okay.
To be honest, I think with you only 1 mana away from casting Glorybringer because of your Arbor Elf, I'm going to take that.
Okay. Glorybringer gets discarded.
Sure does.
And you lose 2 life, going down to 7.
This Thoughtseize shows me a lot of threatening cards, and I did get rid of that Glorybringer, which was probably the scariest, but that doesn't mean the rest of them aren't scary, and I don't really know how I'm going to deal with all of those cards, so hopefully we draw some really good cards going forward. I will then attack you for 5.
We all know that I can't do anything about that, so I will take my 5 and go to 13.
And then I will pass the turn.
I think we're just going to take it a little bit slow, be a little bit safe here. Basically 4 mana. untap one of my lands, and I'll just cast that Obstinate Baloth.
Seems reasonable.
When it enters, I gain 4 life. Go back to 17.
Yep.
And then I'll just pass the turn.
Okay. Untap these things and draw a card for the turn. Oh, very interesting. Well, I will play a Mishra's Bauble.
Yep.
And I'd like to see what you're going to draw next turn.
Go for it.
Okay. Okay. I will then pay 1, and I will exile these. So there's 5, so I have to pay 2, unfortunately. I will exile 5 cards from my graveyard to play a second Gurmag Angler.
Yep.
And I will go to combat.
Got it.
And attack you for 5.
I am taking 5. Going down to...
I will pass the turn.
Draw this card you know about. It's actually not too bad. I will pay a green. I'm going to play Utopia Sprawl on my basic forest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and name red for the Utopia Sprawl. So tap for a green and a red.
Yep.
I will then untap this land.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'll just pay red here. I'm going to play Seasoned Pyromancer.
Okay.
When it enters, I have to discard 2 cards. I only have 2. So it'll be Wrenn and 6 and Seasoned Pyromancer.
Okay.
I then draw 2 cards.
You sure do.
And because I discarded 2 non-lands, I get 2 1/1 elemental tokens. So I get my elemental tokens here. I will play land for turn.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, I will just pass the turn.
Okay. Untap. Interesting. I will play a Scalding.
Yep.
I will go to combat.
Sure.
I will attack you with both Gurmag Anglers.
So Gurmag Angler, 12 here. I mean, Temur Battle Rage is something that he could have. If I just block 1, then Temur Battle Rage deals 9 plus 5, so that's not enough. I could try to block and kill. Only problem is, if he has Temur Battle Rage, I'm basically throwing everything away. I think in this situation, all I really want to do is kind of chump with my elemental tokens. That way, if he does have the Battle Rage, I'm only taking 9. If he wants to use it. So I think, given Battle Rage and he doesn't have any more board right now, I'm just going to throw 2 elementals under the bus.
Okay. Your elementals will die. Then in my second main, just to get it out of the way, I'm going to cast Eliminate on your Seasoned Pyromancer.
Seasoned Pyromancer will.
And then I will pass the turn. So I was really hoping Austin would block with more creatures, but looking at what he's got left, there's exactly 7 power of creatures left. So I cast a Temur Battle Rage now, I just die. So instead I'm going to use my mana for an Eliminate so that he doesn't have lethal on board. And then next turn, hopefully I can Temur Battle Rage for lethal. We're going to see what happens.
I will go to combat.
Mm-hmm.
I'll attack for...
I have no blocks.
Alright. Put you down to 3.
I go to 3.
I'll just play an Arbor Elf.
Okay.
And pass the turn.
At the end of your turn, I will go to 2 and get a tapped Watery Grave.
Sure thing.
So I will untap my lands and these large fish zombie fishes and draw a card. Oh, very interesting. I will pass the turn.
At the end of your turn, I'll tap for a red and a green. Untap it. Another red and a green.
Yep.
And one more mana to exile a Seasoned Pyromancer from my graveyard, which gives me 2 elemental tokens. And after that, I'll go ahead and go to my turn. We're going to go to combat, and barring any unforeseen
Removal
tricks
spells
that I can't see coming, I will just attack with everything.
Well, unfortunately, I already had one Teamer Battle Rage and I drew the other copy. So it doesn't really do much here. It's not enough to stop you from killing me, but it also wasn't enough to kill you last turn.
Had you known you were going to get another Battle Rage.
Yeah.
Battle Rage 2 turns in a row and I would have lost, but yeah. Obviously, top decking another Battle Rage is not something you were expecting there, considering that's every single one in the deck.
Yeah. So. It is what it is. Thank you for the games.
Good games. All right, everybody. If you made it this far, thanks a lot for watching. We have a lot of fun doing this. Hopefully, everybody enjoys it. We did notice that in Game 2, when JC used Mishra's Bauble, he did forget to draw on the following upkeep in Game 2.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but the mistake is my own, and this is a real game, and sometimes you make mistakes, but that's what you learn from.
Yeah, hopefully it didn't change the outcome too much. We don't really know. It could have had a big impact, but it could have just been a land, and if it was, then probably no harm, no foul. But
yeah. Either way, it was a pair of fun games.
For sure. And again, if you have made it this far, please just be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. We're always happy to hear what you guys have to say. We'll engage with you guys. Just let us know. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.